Hey. Okie dokie. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for being here. I know all of you who are involved with voter service coordination or voter service director have your hands full. Um, I also know that there's parts of the voter service division that include candidate forum coordinators, ballot issue presentations, and voter registration. So if you fit any of those job descriptions, you're in the right place. And I think even more now, importantly, I'm glad we have an action and advocacy person here because part of that presentation is now evolving into a focus on where the league stands. Just a brief start history. The last couple of years, we've been doing some revision and redesign of our ballot issue pamphlet. It came about for a couple reasons, two or three. One is the cost of printing ballot issue pamphlets and also the paper and sometimes the waste of that paper. We're trying to be environmentally friendly because not all the time were we using everything that we printed out and sent out. There was also sticker shock on shipping ballot issues to various leagues across the state because people don't come to Denver and pick them up anymore. And I don't know, I'll just give you the Greeley Weld quote that we spent $500. I think this is right after during the pandemic, but $500 on ballot issues and $300 on shipping. And we didn't use all the ballot issues we ordered. So, it took some reevaluation. We also felt like we needed to be a little bit more flexible in use of technology. Um, quite frankly, we had some issues with pros and cons and the fact that some of them may have been biased. And we wanted to steer away from that a little bit and work on just giving you the facts and the information that you need, or voters, you and the voters, the information they need. So we've used a variety of different structures and ways to go about doing this. We've collaborated closely with the action and advocacy piece. I'll talk to you a little bit what their role is in a minute. But we've continued to evolve. And part of that was we really did follow up last year with a survey to everybody who was interested in responding. I don't have the data on that, but we looked at all the feedback we got from a survey we sent out from everybody, users, voter service people, ballot issue presenters. And we also had a focus group where we just drilled down and said, okay, folks, what do we need to do differently this year? And another thing that's impacted the development and evolution of our ballot issue pamphlet is the fact that the number of ballot issues keep changing. And I think this year, Maud, if I'm correct, there was probably the highest number of proposed initiatives that were sent out to the public or were reviewed to be sent out. I don't know. I think there's 300 some. Eventually, some got approved to get out to be citizens initiatives. But nonetheless, when you have 16 to 18 or 15 to 16 ballot measures, just look at the costs. So we've evolved to the point we are now. I think we've streamlined it. We've coordinated it with the brochures and the materials we put together to complement each other. I'll talk to you a little bit more about what each of those components are and interface it with technology. We can do that a lot easier, and people are starting to get really familiar with how the best they can use technology. First, the role of voter service has been to present ballot issue information in a nonpartisan way. We've tried to keep it so we're helping give just the overview of the ballot issue measures. What does it mean? What's it mean to say vote yes? What's it mean to vote no? What are some of the essential points you need to know about ballot issues? And then what are some of the resources that you can use? We've realized over the years also that the Blue Book has really become a lot more user friendly. When we first started doing all of this, the Blue Book was written in Chinese. And that just they probably printed out the ballot measure, which you couldn't understand in the first place, and was very difficult sometimes for some people to understand the nature of the ballot measures, and we were the Reader's Digest version of that. So we're finding out that it's a lot easier. They have a lot more information. They have illustrations. They have diagrams and graphs that help people understand what the impact of ballot measures are. So the ballot issue part of it is really just providing essential information and overview. Whereas the role of action and advocacy has been and will continue to be, since they're the resource and follow these measures through the state legislature, and the initiatives, and take positions on these early on. So we hopefully can avoid getting some of them on the ballot altogether. But they really do the deep dive with the content, the ballot analysis, and eventually say, what positions do we have? Whether we support, oppose, or don't take a position based on our league positions. And interestingly enough, we know that when people come to ballot issue presentations, the first thing they really want to know is where league stands. So I'm hoping we're putting all that together and it makes sense to you, and how we're trying to make it as easy for you as well as the voters and the people who are doing presentations, and also realizing you don't want to have an hour and a half presentation on ballot measures when you're talking to a certain civic group, Rotary Club or something. They have a business meeting, give you 20 minutes and everybody's ready to go back to work. So that's where we're at, and we're going to go through each of the materials. They are now going to be available in between Beth and Katina and Jane. We'll talk to you a little bit about how the ordering system's set up. I think we've streamlined that, made it easier for you. But the first piece that we have, and I'm going to call it the Voter's Pocket Planner, but I'll have Katina describe it a little bit to you and what its contents are. So Katina, I'll let you do this part.
Okay, so we decided, so based on the feedback that Barb was talking about, we decided to pare down a lot of the information. And again, as she said, because there's so many ballot measures this time around, most of the content, I shouldn't say that, each of the measures, all of the content will be online. So every QR code is going to go to a main page that's going to supplement all of the printed material. So this is now the main piece, which is, it's called a French fold, but it's, as you can see, it has this kind of double fold. So what happens is, this is your cover. This is the inside, what you're kind of seeing here. And then when it's fully opened, it looks like this. And so, and the reason it's going to kind of become I'm sorry, what is the name, Barb?
I'm going to call it pocket guide, or pocket voter planner guide, okay. Something to that extent.
Perfect. So, and the reason for that too is that, so here's a little close up of it. So here's your cover. This is your back. So this defines your terms, and this is where everybody can find the where the league stands information. So stances. And then this is for the ballot issues and each measure themselves. And the reason this is outlined is for a label to go there in case you do have local sponsors that you want to put there. And it's okay to cover that area, because then as you open it on the inside, there is another spot where they're going to be able to access the ballot issues there as well. So they have 2 QR codes for that in case you don't have a sponsor, in case you're not using that space. So the reason it's supposed to be interactive. And so the reason for the name change is that as someone's going through either the Blue Book, they're at a presentation, they can start to check off, what a yes means, what a no means, where they're leaning. But the idea is that this is interactive. And so here's the fully opened. It's an 8.5 by 11 piece. We do need to update it. I'm taking off 50 and 108 today. But this is basically, this is the piece. But what's great about this, and I'm going to go back to the design, what's going to happen is, so I'm going to scroll down past this and let's get to, come on, there we go. What can be nested inside and what's going to fit perfectly inside are our postcards. So we're using this as supplementary information. So the election resources were in last year's pamphlet, but we've now separated it into a separate piece that can now nest inside the fold. It can be a standalone piece, or you can do it as an entire little packet for them to either take with them or to leave at a facility or a community center. For the libraries or for places that have existing stands, we have the rack card. This is just a list of all of the measures. Again, with the definition of terms, we do nod to where the league stands, and then we have our ballot issues QR code on the front. On the order form, you can order a holder as well. But so the difference between these two is really just where and how you want to use them. As we discussed internally, this is really great for presentations because they can actually feel like they're engaging and actively, or I should say actively engaging with the materials. This really is, leave this in a spot. The cover is meant to be eye-catching for them to pick it up, to get the overview. So hopefully they take that next step to go to our site to actually look at each one of the measures where it's going to have what a yes means and what a no means. And then the final piece, a second postcard that can be nested inside as well. And this is the quick reference guide. And this is an action and advocacy piece. Just got that updated just now. So we'll do a little bit more. So here's the rack card. And that's the front and back of that. Oops, didn't want to do that.
And we need to update the initiatives. We haven't gotten the final letters or numbers.
And then, exactly. And then here's the election resources. And this is what we're at now. So here's the Where the League Stands postcard. And so here's front and then back, just updated now. But this is a quick reference guide, which is going to be posted to the site today on the Where the League Stands page, as well as on the home page. But as a printed piece, then this can get, again, nested into your French fold or into your pocket guide. And so you can have your election resources, your Where the League Stands, and then of course you have your what a yes and no means. This has all the information and a really thorough overview of all the ballot measures. And then when they want to dive deeper, all of that's going to be on the website. And so I have done a template page, but I don't know how far we want to go into showing that. But there will be a downloadable PDF on each page that has each measure on it as well, so you can actually print as needed.
Can you, while you, maybe Maud, I'd like you to make some comments too about what the action advocacy people have done with Where the League Stands. And while you're getting that ready, I just want to remind people that all these materials are in English and Spanish.
And the election information postcard can be used beyond this election. It's evergreen. It is, folks can stick it on their fridge, and it is information that will be good in future elections as well.
Yeah, nothing about 2024 or the current initiatives, but the QR codes will take them to current info. Katina, do you have, and thank you for updating the Where the League Stands postcard so quickly. Katina is nothing if not wonderful. So are Beth and Jane. Katina, do you have the one pager handy, or should I show them the non-gorgeous version of one of them just so they can see the content?
I don't actually, you know what? I put it on this page because this is now, so hopefully my link worked because I just put together this page. And it does.
Yeah,
right.
But I think you should show them the page too, because it's awesome. Thanks.
Yeah,
of course.
So the Legislative Action Committee did a one pager, which is, most of them are a page and a half or so, on each of the 14 ballot measures that will be on the ballot. The two property tax measures just got withdrawn today, so the final number is 14. And it has a summary of the measure, background on the issue, what the measure would do, and what the league position is, what the league stance is, what our rationale is for deciding on that stance, a short piece on the fiscal note, and a link to the fiscal note. Again, if there is one. There are a few measures where the league doesn't have positions, and so we don't have stances, but we have the other pieces. So there's a lot of information, both for your voters and for your ballot measure speakers, for their own background, for anyone who really wants to dig in on a particular measure or all of the measures.
Could you,
So,
could
and
you
then
show us, the card with the where we stand? You had 3 columns, I guess green was yes. I like that, yeah.
Mhm.
And orange, this whole production is beautiful.
Thank you.
I do the formatting. I'm gonna have to up my game. I do the formatting for Boulder County, but I've got a lot to learn. And then no Yeah.
Stance.
closed,
No
no
stance.
stance, yeah.
No,
That's
those are-
really nice. That's very easy to read.
No, we thought so too. And
Right.
back to the advocacy pages, I've had several voter service people or people email me over the course of the year saying, especially with Amendment 89, they said, well, we have people who are out doing advocacy work for, Amendment 89. Can you give us one pager that people can talk from and give more information? So yes, we're working with this in conjunction to ballot issues, but it's also if there's special groups that are doing some advocacy on any of these ones that we have support for, that they can use those materials as part of their educational programming. I'll just finish up with my part, and then if there's questions and things, we are preparing a toolkit that will have for the ballot issues presentation, have a speech, PowerPoint, and we're hoping to put a video together that has all of a short, hope it's 20 or 25 minutes, that if people don't feel comfortable or you want to need a short period of time, that you could show the video and then complement it with your own comments. So once again, we're trying to think of everybody and how much time they have or don't have to put into doing research and doing their own. I know there's a lot of hardcore ballot issue people that love getting out all the booklets and the blue book and all the materials and putting a presentation together. But we also we're looking towards that as being a support system for you. And also Action and Advocacy is going to be complementing with that, with as far as where the league stands. I think, Maud, are you with a toolkit or?
I
For the
think there's
speech.
going to be a action and advocacy ballot measures speech script and slide deck that's just going to be the pieces. I think it's just going to be the position and the rationale
Okay.
Yes.
piece. It's meant to be given after the initial ballot measure speech, so it assumes that people have heard the yes no speech already. Remember, with 14 ballot measures and maybe 20 minutes that your speakers are going to be given to as their time slot to speak on all 14, it's a minute and a half each on average. Some of them are going to be shorter, some of them will take a little longer.
But I know that several of us are planning voter ballot issue presentations, public ones at the local level. So we do have a little bit more time to follow up. If not, you can use the cards to just give the short overview and how people can follow up on the website. I just talked to Beth today. I don't know if this has been confirmed with Maud yet about doing training on September 23rd. Beth talked to you about that.
Not
No,
yet.
Okay, hold the phone then on that. We will get a date out to you. We're talk about scrambling. We got candidate forums going on. We got ballot issue presentations. It's all over the map. So, but we are planning a workshop. So we'll go over all this for people who are presenting or ballot or voter service coordinators who need to get that kind of information. I will say, and I know you'll get a pitch. This all fits really nicely together with our Making Democracy Works Day, which Beth will probably be talking to you more about, but we will have speakers on some of the major ballot issues that are being talked about that can be part of your building your knowledge base. So please plan on coming.
Yeah.
And I guess, well, Jane Dunk is really in charge of orders, so we'll let her talk, but I'll
And
pass it on. Huh?
what, even before that, September 30th, the State League is doing a ballot measure presentation online for
Yes, for the
everyone.
general public.
For
Right.
the general public, yes.
Yeah.
But then
All
we're
those
hoping,
dates- Go ahead.
sorry, we're hoping to hold a ballot issues workshop on the 23rd, which is more showing league members how they might use these tools. Is that fair to say, Barb?
Yes, yeah. And I just want, first of all, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank Maud and her team, Katina, Jane, Beth. This has truly been a team effort to pull this all together. And we thought we were on one path and we had to change paths a little bit, but I think we're heading towards what we really want this to look like in the future and can adapt easily as we go forward. So thank you to all of you for your great help. Jane, you might want to talk about how they need to order all these materials. And Beth, I'll turn it over to you too.
I'll turn it over to Jane.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody can hear me okay? We're all good? So there are two different forms, and the reason there's two different forms is the initial form, which was sent out last week, ended up with and I'm putting that link on the screen here, and I'll share my screen so you can see what I'm talking about. Yep, hold on. Technical difficulties this morning. Here we go. So this is the original form that was sent out. This has a restriction of only 1,000 of any individual one item. So if you're going to order anything less than 1,000 is total for each individual item, you can use the original link, which I put up in the chat. If you are going to order more than 1,000, we created another pretty much the same form, but in a different software. And that's that second link. You can use the one here. So basically ordering, there's a couple of different ways you can order the materials. You can order them on either site. You can pay for them with credit card by contacting the office here, and then I can take that credit card information over the phone. Please email any credit card information ever. So please don't do that. So if it's credit card, just give me a call. You can also pay with your ed funds. So if your league has ed funds with us, they can certainly use those, or you can also send us a check. So, and you also have you can come to our office and pick it up in Denver here on Grant Street, which is on the forms, or we can ship them out to you. They'll be shipped out with the USPS flat rate boxes. Most expensive box, I believe, is $24.75. That's the most per box we can charge you because that's what's out there. We do get a slight discount, but depending on your address, it may, cost a little bit less than that. So once we have the orders in, I should be able to tell you how much shipping would be for your particular order.
And that's something we haven't actually talked about, our costs.
I know.
We received a generous grant from the Rudy and Alice Ramsey Foundation that covers the printing of these materials up to the amounts that we ordered last year. So basically, all of these materials are free. Now, we do still need to charge you for shipping. So that's why Jane was talking about checks and credit cards and ed funds and things. If you choose to order a rack card holder, we do need to charge you $3 for those. But costs are extremely minimal this year. Now, if people order way over what was ordered last year, it's possible there will be a small charge. But we're going to try to not make that happen. But basically, if you're kind of sticking with around the same numbers that you did last year, it should be free except for shipping. Any questions on that? And yes, we can tell you how much you ordered last year.
Catherine, I did receive your order. So you said you weren't sure if you put it through. I do have it.
And I would really suggest you just use the Google form. There's no restrictions on it. Any other questions? Katina, did you say everything you wanted to say?
Yeah, unless there's any questions about the materials, how to use them, where to put them. I think it's really just about that. Otherwise, I think last time we had questions just about specifically about the PDFs on each page. So that is also for you to use to download as needed. So I think that's probably the only thing I'd like to repeat, just because everything isn't in the materials that you're going to be sent. It is an overview. And so you will have each individual measure. You'll have the ability to download and print as needed each one of the measures, to the point where we are going to combine them all and you can have a complete document with all of them as well. So that's, I think, the only other thing I didn't mention. So just to kind of put those worries to rest, as we're trying to address a lot of different needs, cutting costs and also helping the environment. So yes.
Right. And Deborah, I see your hand up, but I just wanted to say that the deadline for orders of printed materials, so just the things that Katina and Barb just talked about and showed you, is this Friday. We need your orders this Friday to send to the printer so that we can have them ready by the 21st of September. That is Making Democracy Work Day. It's our traditional rollout day of all things ballot issues. So we expect and intend to have the website and all the web pages and the downloadable PDFs ready. The PowerPoint presentation and the accompanying script. Infographics on each ballot measure, and the video. It's possible the video won't be ready until Monday, the 23rd, but everything else will be ready by the 21st. Deborah. Are you there, Deborah?
Deborah?
She seems
Deborah,
to
are
be
you
frozen.
frozen? We're not hearing you.
This might not be the place to ask, but I'm very curious about combining where we stand with our pros and cons presentation. And I get it. I mean, I'm more comfortable with it than I was when it started, but our board is absolutely, well, they might have changed their mind. Last year, our board was absolutely opposed, and we didn't put out any of our stands until after the last candidate meeting. Well, you know the whole drill. So I'd be interested in how this has evolved. And as I say, it might not be the place to ask.
No, it's absolutely the place.
I'll just well, I'll give my 2 cents on it. There's, I don't, there's been a lengthy discussion on this since the beginning. And I think the thing that everybody was a little frustrated with is there was a huge consensus that the first thing voters always wanted to know is where the league stands. And all of us, I've been doing this for 30 years. So I mean, I'm not new to the whole deal, but
And I agree.
yeah. And the other thing is how do we balance it? And we talked about silly things that we used to do. We'd go present a ballot issue presentation and then like tell everybody to leave or come back, and then we'd give the down low on the ballot measures, or we'd go behind the curtain and come back on the other side. And so I don't know, we've been trying to respect both sides of the issue and saying that we'll do the ballot measures up front and take a break and then follow up with where the league stands. That's the going conversation on it. If anybody else has any, and mostly the voter service person has been the one that's had to wear 2 hats in this whole thing. I mean, we used to get a little sheet. I'm of the era, maybe a lot of people, and even some of the people on this call might remember. I mean, only league members used to get the league positions.
Mhm.
And there's a little,
Right.
there's a little flyer that was in our folder that Jerry gave us and said, here's where, here's the positions and here's what we're opposed to and so forth. And after your ballot issue, then you can talk to them and explain why we took that position. So we're trying to make it seamless, but we're trying to respect both sides. Maybe one other thought is to partner with an advocacy person, have the ballot issue person who's not strictly nonpartisan, and then partner with a advocacy person who follows up and takes that part of the presentation.
However, there's also no mandate that you or anyone speak about league stances if that is something your local league decides.
Yep. No, there isn't. We haven't taken any position or policy on that.
We
We're
just
trying-
know that it's a very regular question received at presentations, where it's like, well, yeah, great, but how does the league want me to vote?
Because we
Well,
don't.
we're not here to tell you how to vote.
Yeah, the league, and here's the other thing. I mean, that we've really been kind of frustrated with. The action and advocacy people have incredible knowledge and expertise. That is as much as our knowledge about the ballot issues. They have expertise about the ins and outs of a ballot measure and how it impacts us as voters. And we kept burying that under the surface all the time and say, oh, by the way. And we know from the get-go they've been working all session on this. And we wanted to highlight that as well. I think where we really said, no, this can't happen, is to put the information together on one piece of paper or in one, doing both at the same time, that we're still putting the ballot measure presentation ahead first, and then people can make a decision on how they want to handle the action and advocacy where the league stands piece. Is that fair to say? Okay.
Deborah, does that answer any of your question?
Oh, yeah. I think we should talk about it. It is hard because a lot of people just come to our meeting to find out how we think they should vote. And it's very hard to sit there with your mouth closed and, be so stubborn.
Mhm.
Catherine has a question.
Do I have my thing on?
Mhm.
Yeah, you have your hand up.
Okay, I got the hand up. Okay, I had 2 questions. One comment and one question. because I remember the days that Barb was talking about when people would ask our position, and I would have to say to them, meet me after the meeting's done and we can talk.
Out in the
I did that.
alley.
Yeah. And the other question I have though, is I sent in my order to Jane yesterday, but I didn't order advocacy, so I want to add to my order, and that I may do that. I'm allowed to do that.
Yep, before the deadline.
You
Well,
betcha.
oh yeah, I'll do that after cardiac rehab. I'll do that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
I think 89 might be an exception because the world, the voting world kind of knows how we feel about that. But when it comes to property tax and stuff, we're very reticent. We're not sure how we feel ourselves, and
Well, we'll have lots of information for you folks to read about not only what our stance is, but how we got there. So. Yeah, those one pagers are new this year. And I think I'm hoping they'll be a very useful piece, both for the presenters and people who want to know more.
Katina, may I ask you to put the link to the order page that's under the members tab in the chat?
For the materials,
Yes.
I put that in.
Oh, you
I put
did?
it in.
Great.
Yeah, I put it in
All right.
early. Yeah.
So you've got a direct link to the form as well as to the web page that describes the form or describes all the materials, and that has a link to the form too. Everything goes to a form. All roads lead to forms. Any other questions? Okay, well, don't hesitate to call the office if you have any. 303-863-0437 or info@lwvcolorado.org. But we appreciate all your hard work. Go ahead.
One other thing, if they're coming to pick up material after the 21st, where would they be coming?
To the old office.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I
On
was
Grad
wondering
Street.
when you said that. But
Yes.
Okay.
We're not even going to go there yet.
Okay.
Yeah. May I please get a big hand for Katina and Jane, who have worked really, really, really hard on all of this? May I get another round of applause for Maud and Barb and their action and voter services teams? Literally, it's been months that we have been working on this, and it's crazy that we're down to the last few days. Woohoo!
Yeah, and Beth has been working her tail off on it also. So
right.
Thank you.
Coordinating
Beth.
all the pieces and trying to get it all moving forward in the right direction at the same time.
Just making sure all the T's are crossed.
Could the state folks stay on for just a minute afterwards so that I know what we're supposed to be doing on the 23rd, or we can talk about that later? Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. Okay. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Appreciate all your work.
Yeah.
Happy elections, and give us a call if you need some help.
Yeah. Barbara, are you still there?
Me? Yeah.
No, Barbara Dungy.
Oh, Barbara Dungy. Oh,
yes, I am.
Okay, you're welcome to stay on. This is just inside stuff.
Okay.
Next, so, anything I need to know now about what we're doing on the 23rd?
What our new dates are, because we talked about we had it down, I think, as the 26th, and that it interferes with a local candidate forum that I'm involved with. That would have been just way over the top to try to do both of those. So
Yeah, 23rd at 4:30 works for me.
okay, and that was our alternative date that we
Okay.
just set up.
So all materials should be ready then, just showing them how to access, how they might use them. It's going to be very similar to this right
Okay.
now. I mean,
Right.
Okay, super.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't put it as a training. I wanted it as a workshop where we go
Good.
through and have conversations about it and
Okay.
demonstrations of how it works together and how they need to work it or advise voters to work it.
Okay. Wonderful.
Okay, well,
Thank-
we need to come up with an agenda. I think that would be a good idea, but
This worked.
this worked, yeah.
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 Just, Katina showing.
Yeah, I don't know. Tina, you're getting really good at doing the promo, so I think you got
Yeah.
that down this time.
Yeah.
Whoa. I'm going, she's got this thing down pat. I'm glad.
Done many presentations.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Well-
Katina do the presentation and the rest of us do the running commentary. I think
Right.
it works
I-
really
I-
well.
It was perfect. It was just not that the other night wasn't, but this seemed to have a good flow to it.
We are staring at the materials over and over again. So I think we know these intimately at this point.
Yes, they probably do it in your
yes.
sleep, huh?
Pretty much, yeah. So I mean, obviously you all know what the rest of my day looks like. So yeah, I'm going to be updating with 5108, putting the Where the League Stands, the postcard onto the Where the League Stands page. We are going to link from the homepage to that now, with the stances. And then as far as, so I would like you to, because I was asking a couple questions just to get to
Mhm.
that next stage, because the next couple days I'm gonna, once these templates are finalized, I'm just gonna start copy pasting. So, it still, requires, as you know, effort. But once the template's done, there's no decisions to make anymore.
Right,
So
right.
I think that's the key right now. So I've sent one template, that's the action and advocacy piece. And that's what it's just using 89 right now. And then there's going to be a mirrored page, very similar, that's going to be a voter services. And that's what I'm calling them, action and advocacy voter services for my organization. But we can take that off of the header. We can make it anything. That's the thing. So
Okay.
that's what I have it as is now. You can see where I have the support. I have the downloadable link actually above the header, so that's actually at the top of the page. Left navigation, please ignore, but I wanted to get a big navigation that existed because we're gonna have a ton of measures. So it's gonna be similar to that. Otherwise, I think that's it. So you're gonna be seeing the voter services mirrored page with yes and no, what that means, and then a landing page for election 2024. And that's what's coming. And that's gonna be it, I think. I think that's as much as right now I can do to get us to that next place. And I think that's a really good place. So
Or-
Katina,
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, I thought that we had made infographics last year. I can't find any record that we did.
we didn't.
I don't remember. We did
no.
the year before, but not this year.
Yes.
No infographics.
So, and all, it is basically a social media post that that is one look with, I would think, what a yes vote means and what a no vote means.
Okay.
And that's
well, yes. Well, yeah, those will be developed. All social media, I just don't even put on the list. Yes.
Oh,
Those will be
okay.
developed to
Great.
release. Absolute, without a doubt. So I just wanted to make sure I understood what you meant by infographic. So
Okay,
that we were, yes, so that all of
That's
that
what
will
I
then
mean.
happen.
Cool.
Perfect.
Do-
Perfect.
Do we want, on the infographic, do we want yes, no stance?
Well, I mean, are the infographics for action or for voter service?
Or league?
Yeah.
I think we should separate them and keep it color coded. Just
Okay.
to kind of release them. I think we should keep it always the same language of
I
what
do
we're doing
too.
right now. I think as soon as we combine it, we might, I mean, we'll still do both.
Right.
Okay.
It's going to all have, it's going to still, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. It's going to have all the same typography, hierarchy. It's just going to, you'll see how the ballot issue page or the voter services page is going to look next to now the current action and advocacy ballot measure page. So it's not going to be reinventing the wheel much. I'm not saying this is not going to take a ton of time. It's like,
Yeah.
I want to kind of keep saying like, yes, this is very doable. I feel like if we start combining it, after these few meetings, I think people will start to get confused. I'm
I
really
do
afraid
too.
of them
Okay.
getting confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
However, I don't know. And as I said, at some point, my mind of the website map and your mind of how that's looking are probably two different things. So I'm waiting to see it.
Well, the ballot measure page is
Yeah.
to be seen and critiqued.
Right.
So
I get it.
that's
I
what
get
the other one is going to look like. I'm not going to change the layout. That the header is going to change. There'll be no support, or
Right.
the support's going to be gone. Everything else as far as the layout goes is going to look very similar.
No,
Did-
I get that. But
Yeah.
I mean, the infographics piece, I
That's
don't
going to
care.
be like the election system graphics you'll see on our current Instagram page. It's not going to look much different than that.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter to me. I will just vote that we be consistent with
Okay.
our directions for now until we see how this goes. I think we'll do
The
another
other
evaluation.
the other thing is if the voter service page just has the yes, no, where will people be clued in that where the league stands has not only stances, but background information and a summary?
And I was thinking about that too. So I'm wondering then if the first two links on the left navigation is kind of election home, like it's 2024 election. It's kind of at the home page. The next one, depending on if it's action and advocacy, the next one can be, ballot issues, yes, no. And then on the ballot issue side, it can say where the league stands or league stances.
That's why I'm waiting to see what you set up, and then we can go from there.
Well, I think these are actually decisions before,
Oh,
because I
okay.
have to actually
Yeah.
set up the page to link to it. So,
Yeah.
so where that navigation, so when you see that left menu on the left side with all the links on the left, the top two, the first one will always go back to the election home on all pages. Like almost like the master tracker that's on there right now. So that one always went back to the one I have as the example. The next link it can be to the other side's main landing page. So it will always take you to the issue, as I'm saying that right now, you do have to read the entire navigation. There's no call out. There is no kind of direction specifically to that. It will be a part of the navigation, but will it stand out necessarily? No, but it will be there. That will be the issue with it in that navigation. The only other place, because even right now, on the page that we have, would it be something all the way at the bottom where it says, do you want to find out what a yes or no vote means? That kind of thing. It's like everything can't be at the top. So, where does that go on the page? And then I can kind of massage that out a little bit. But wherever that is, then it'll be the same on all pages as it's directing you toward the other side. Whether it's, okay, maybe they don't want to hear the stance. They want to know what a yes means, no means, and the overview. And now maybe they're on ballot issues. Okay, well, what does the league think? So yes, figuring out where those call outs are on the page will be the same on both. The problem is, again, it's gonna, I think it should be in the same place on both pages, and where it says strongly support right now on the action advocacy. Now that I'm saying all this, let's just share this real quick.
Right,
Sure.
I
Yeah,
need visual. I just tried to look at it.
yeah. So let's, I'm probably in another. I have a
Your
lot of
desktop
tabs
looks
open.
like mine.
Yeah, this is, yeah. I'm just gonna open a new one. Let's see. Okay, we've got, so. There. So we have our download here. We have our header.
Oh, I see what you're talking about. I was
And
looking
then
at
here's
the
the
left-hand side there.
Yeah, so in the navigation, so where it says master built, that it goes to election 2024 election overview, or
Okay.
election home. It's going to go to the main landing page where we're going to split. The second could be to the other. So on this one, it would say ballot issues. What does a yes or no vote mean? Or something like that, just depending, because you only have so many characters. But, what does a yes, no vote mean? But it says, we can say, have it say voter services. What does a yes, no vote mean? It's going to be characters, but once that decision's made, then it's kind of made across the board. Then we go into the rest of the ballot measure number. So
Is it possible to put the ballot title and the summary on the ballot issue page?
Yeah, there's going to be another page just like this
Okay.
that has, so it's going to have, let me just go to,
I know I'd given you an outline, but I don't know where we're at with that. And I don't care. I just want to know what you're
so
thinking.
then, so it's going to have, this is going to take a second to open. So it's going to have this header on it. So it's,
Okay.
It's very similar to what you're seeing here. I labeled it education on top. Same,
Okay.
all this is exactly the same. So just imagine this here.
Right.
This is all identical.
Okay.
This won't be here.
Right.
So on the
Mhm.
website, it's going to, on the voter service side, it's going to include the summary and the background?
Yes, Barb's
Okay.
working off of those pages in a separate folder.
I'll say the only reason why is because we did have great requests by the ballot voter service people to have the background information.
Super. Thank
And
you, thank you, thank you. That was,
Yes. And the only thing I cared about really was that the yes and no, and use something on the bottom half of that page where you have your stance in the league position.
right.
Right. So starting here, we can have like what a yes vote means,
Right.
what a no vote means. We actually use this exact same kind of layout for that
Oh,
too.
I
great.
see.
Okay.
Right there. So it's going to
Super.
look similar. And we could just keep this too. Like, how does the league take a stance? That could be on every page. If people want to find out, and then we'd probably
That's
take
fine.
the quick reference, but this might be a way to get them here.
Right.
Because this isn't, or since your page is not going to have here, is not going to have this here, this could be an opportunity to put a link here to this page, to the
Yeah.
where the league stands page. So because you won't have this, so that I just answered. So thank you for you all watching me go through this.
Well, that's
Yeah.
it.
Because I think then this, I think that makes sense to me now, because you will have that space, and I don't see any reason why we could keep this here. Because that answers that question, I think, Barb, that you were saying that people are always asking is, how did you even come up with the stance?
Right.
And it's all here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that
Mhm.
keeping those there is great.
I think so. So this template, so that'll never change. This changes to yes, no. The top background stays basically the same. And then whatever other information is on yours, Barb, can kind of go in this middle section.
Okay.
Yep. So that
Great.
gets us to our measure pages, and then landing pages will be something a little different. So I'm not going to even talk about those right now. And
Katina,
even
that is,
saying, yes.
that is wonderful news. I'm really happy that the background information and summary will be on both sides.
Yeah,
I
I
think
needed
so.
that to be consistent for both,
Yep.
because if they don't ever go to your side, they need this
Yes.
information.
Yeah,
Exactly.
super. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
on
I
that
appreciate that.
Cool.
And thanks for doing the workup on that too.
Yeah.
No,
Appreciate
and thank you for asking all the questions, because going back is gonna, with all of these, going back to like 14 pages, and then it'll be 28 pages, and then it'll be
I know, no, there has
28
to
PDFs,
be
and then
some
it'll,
similar
yes,
easy
absolutely.
format
Yeah.
that
Exactly.
you can
Yeah.
follow, a recipe of sorts. so
Yeah.
to speak.
That's exactly right. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. So thank you. Thank you for talking through that right now, because that's going to